Well, hello there. Well, hey, you know what? We're back on the 1975 250 TNT Can-Am and having a heck of a good time riding it. I'm just hopeful that she doesn't leave me stranded again. You know, we've been doing everything we can do to kind of figure out why this bike just randomly stalls at idle. And this is a test ride number 3, so we're gonna find out and see what's going on. What I found out, and I don't know if you've seen the previous video, but what I discovered, and this is on me I guess really, is that you know, we kind of tracked it down to being electrical because, you know, an ignition issue, just simply because we'd gone through everything else. There was nothing left. I mean, we checked compression, we checked carburation. I rebuilt the carb, in fact. I thought the clutch was dragging, which it was. Solved that. I thought, well, maybe it's dragging so much that it's actually, you know, actually stalling it out. And but that's none of those things. Everything we tested, it didn't matter what we tested or fixed, the bike kept getting better, but it kept stalling randomly after riding it for, you know, 10 miles. And weirdly, always at the same stoplight. I can't figure that out. It's like it doesn't want to cross the road there, but which is really quite bizarre. So either it's possessed or it's an electrical issue. So anyways, took the stator cover off, took the side cover off, which I really should have done ages ago. And you know what? There was a whole pile of water in there. So I took it off and I dried it out with a, you know, with a hair dryer for about an hour and a half on low. Didn't fry it, of course. I mean, wasn't blasting it with heat, just drying it out really, really, really thoroughly. Okay, guys, what do you figure? Can we fix a vintage Can-Am 250 TNT with you know, with a blow dryer and a piece of duct tape? I don't know. That's what we're trying to do here. So will this cure our spark issue? I don't know. I will let you know, but we're gonna give it a go before we actually invest putting parts in this thing. And then I also, you know, because I think it's a weak spark issue, when I bought the bike it had what I thought was the wrong plug in it. And I'd thrown it into my metal recycling bin. And I fished that thing out and put it back in the bike as well. And the combination of the two, the bike so far seems to be running better. But you know what? I still think we may have a coil issue in the stator there. So we'll just have to see. Is it going to run tonight? Or is it going to leave us stranded? That's the mystery. I really don't know either. You know, I've got the fully charged cell phone with me and the BCAA card. So we'll see what happens. But in fact, actually, you know what? I want to do a little test here. I want to kind of mimic that I'm at a stoplight or a stop sign here. So we're just going to stop it here for a minute. Nobody behind me. There's absolutely no one behind me. It's a really highly unused road, and that's why I'm down here. Okay, we're going to let it sit here for a minute as if we were at a stoplight. No idle. I've got it in first gear, just holding the clutch in. See what the bike does. I'm not giving it any fuel. Still nothing. Oh, she was starting to go a little low on me there, so I gave it some gas. Okay, so You know, the thing about it with an electrical issue like that is it works good when you're, you know, it works good when the engine's running faster, right? Because it's spinning and putting out more electricity. But the moment that it's at idle, it's no longer doing that, right? And it starts, you know, spinning slower, putting out less power. And then the fact that the parts are worn, the coils are suspect. Is it this? I don't think it's the CDI, but it could be that too. But you know, I really think it's a coil issue. Mostly because I've tested them, and actually, if you haven't seen the stator test video where I test the coils, you should take a look at that because that tells the story. I tested them both hot and cold, and they give significantly different readings. Basically, they pretty much pass when they're cold. They're very, very at the super high end of passing. The charging coil actually is a little bit on the, I would call it failure side at cold, but very close, very close. But then as soon as the engine gets warm, those readings go way high and way out of spec. So, and that's true even since I've dried up the stator. It's not as bad. Much better readings than we were getting before, but still out of spec readings when hot. So I think that's it. Is it a surprise that 1975 electronics are giving you issues? I guess I shouldn't be too surprised, eh? I guess I should not be. But, you know, given the condition of this bike and given it was kept indoors its entire life, I was kind of hoping we wouldn't have those issues, but, you know, it is what it is. But you can see she really wants to go, and she really does go. You know, I'm a pretty conservative rider, so I'm sure some of you guys are screaming saying, open her up a bit more, but I mean, I'm, you know, that's not me. I'm not a crazy rider, I just ride, so. But not only that, I don't want to really overtax this thing just yet. Well, we're still trying to figure out what on earth is wrong with it. Is it possible that we solved it by drying out the coils? I'd like to think so, but you know, that's my idealist side of my brain saying, yeah, I'd like to think that way, but the realist side of me says, no, it's still screwed. It's still screwed. I'm pretty sure. I think it's just better, you know. But part of proving that theory is to actually test it out. How do you know unless you test it out, right? So, and it's not like something you can test in the shop. I mean, you can test and look at the ohms values, but I mean, as a number of guys have told me, you don't really know from that. I mean, well, I guess you know that it's failing the tests, but is it working or not working? And apparently, even when these things pass, even when they pass the tests, you know, it's, you know, it still may be failing. And the weird thing is, it is, you know, if it was a random, oh, look at this, they got the road shut off. What the hell's with that? Road closed. Okay, well, I guess we're not going that way tonight. Oops. Maybe it's just as well. It's a nicer bit of road down here, and we're not in the sun this way, so that's kind of, you know, I think we're gonna go with it. Totally good with this. Oh, turn signal on. Oops. I really have to work on remembering to turn those gosh darn things off. One of my motorcycles, which I've now sold, it had the automatic turn signal turn-off feature, which was really useful for a very forgetful person like me. But this bike certainly doesn't have it, and my other bikes don't have it either, so it's on me. I gotta do better. I'll take a little remedial training when I go home. In the interim, if you guys see that turn signal flashing, if you wouldn't mind letting me know, I'd really appreciate it. So. She goes, man. She definitely goes. Well, what's going to be good about this ride is we're going to get that thing hot, and we'll find out what's going on, eh? So, hey, we'll find out. Boy, that's fun. She wants to go, man. Really nice. Really nice. You know, one of the jobs, I mentioned it earlier, that I thought it might be the clutch dragging, because the clutch really was dragging something terrible. And, you know, I thought it might be the issue because, you know, I thought it was actually maybe, although I had the clutch lever fully in, you know, depressed or engaged, you know, and I thought possibly it was actually stalling out, even though it was fully adjusted correctly and everything else. But, you know, what's interesting, when I took the clutch apart, it was the metal, or the steels, I should say, the steels on the clutch plates were rusty. Not ridiculously rusty, like not full-on majorly rust, but they were definitely rusty, and that was a problem because what I did is I took them off and cleaned them all up, measured them all to make sure everything was in spec, measured the fibers, measured the steel discs, measured the full stack out of the bike to make sure that everything was in spec, and everything is well within spec. But then I just cleaned it all up. The fibers, of course, I didn't really have to do anything with, but the steels, I really went to town with them, sanding them and cleaning them up with Scotch-Brite and some various grades of sandpaper. And so then put the whole thing back together again, and you know, the clutch is way better now. She doesn't drag at all. It's way better than what it was. I mean, you couldn't hardly even push this bike with the clutch lever. You know, oh geez, there it is, I'm doing it again. Oh my gosh. Turn signal left on again. Luckily nobody's behind me. Good grief. Anyways, bottom line, that made a huge difference. That really solved it. So if any of you guys got a dragging clutch, just take the clutch apart, take the discs out and inspect them. Inspect them both for wear, but also inspect them to make sure there's no pitting on those steel discs or rust or anything like that that could be grabby, right? Because that's what was going on with mine. This bike only has 2,400 miles since 1975 when it was brand new. I bought it off the original owner. So, you know, obviously, although he kept it in a, it was in his garage, it's literally its entire life, through various properties he owned, but the thing was never left outside. But, as everybody, you know, that's watching this video knows, that doesn't really matter. You can still get condensation. Just heat and cold cycles alone will get enough condensation to cause rust, especially given without the bike running, those clutch plates don't get oiled up. The oil drips all over them, and then you get a bunch of heat cycles with condensation, and the top side of all those clutch plates start to rust. So that's kind of the ugly process when you're talking about what's near on 50 years now, right? 1975 to 2024, what is that? Yeah, that's pretty damn close to 49 years, right? So, yeah, it'll definitely do it. So, and it did on this bike. And you know what's great about that little job? It costs zero, absolutely zero, just time. No parts, just a bit of labor, take it apart, clean it all up, put it back together again. Simple, easy peasy. Well, I guess there's a little bit of cost because you got to, you know, if you're doing that job, you're going to put new oil in the crankcase. So, you know, call it $10. I don't know, whatever it costs, right? I mean, it's worth it. So, all right, there's a stop sign, and hey, bonus, she didn't stop. All right, let's see if I can remember the turn signal this time. Hey, I got it. How about that? Yeah, she's going pretty darn good. Pretty happy. You know, some years of the TNT 250 had 6 gears, but 1975 did not. 1975 had 5 gears, and I really wish this thing had a 6th gear. Oh, I wasn't in 5th. There we go, that helps. I was in 4th, okay. But I still wish it had 6 gears. I really do. But that's, you know, we can fix that by changing out the sprocket, I guess, or sprockets, I'm not sure which. You know, change the gear ratio a little bit for a little bit more speed, because right now, I mean, I don't really know how fast she'll go, to be honest with you. There's 50. There's 50, but she's getting pretty buzzy. That's 55. Yeah, I mean, you can do 55 or 60. You know, given the fact this engine is still in its test phase for me because of this ignition issue, I don't want to get too carried away. It's getting kind of buzzy at 55, so it would be nice to change that to 65 where it gets there, you know. I don't need, because I'm not a really old guy, but I'm old enough that my Red Bull days are definitely my X Games days are over, so I'm more of the putt variety now. Admittedly, well, it's a nice. I don't know if you guys can see that, but pretty darn nice sunset this evening. But in any event, I'd happily sacrifice a bit of first gear for a little bit more speed. So. That's a sprocket change, I would imagine. Make that a little bit better. And that's the type of thing that we'll tackle once we get the bike running right, you know. So, nice new pavement. Always a bonus. So far so good on the test ride here tonight, but I still don't know if I can trust it. I really don't. I don't know. You just don't know what you don't know. The last time it left me stranded, it took me 2 hours to get the bike home, which really kind of sucked, I gotta say. It really kind of sucked. And then the time after, well, actually that wasn't the last time, that was a couple times ago. And then last time I had the girlfriend all lined up. I went and I had my put my motorcycle carrier in my truck and had her all lined up to rescue me should the need arise. And the thing did die on me, but luckily enough I was able to get it restarted, limp it back home. So I didn't actually have to do that. And this time I'm, oh, there's a darn turn signal again. Gee whiz. Alrighty. Okay guys, I need like some sort of electroshock reminder or something. I wonder if I can wire that in. she's going pretty good. Oh, we're already in that top gear there. Yeah, that's where 6th gear would be nice. I always think it should have another gear. 50 doesn't seem fast enough on this bike. This is a bike that happily would do 70 miles an hour all day long, geared correctly, so it would be nice to have it do that, although that's probably a little out of the realm of reason with only 5 gears. I don't know, I'll have to do a little looking online and see what's doable. The engine's very strong. You know, I did a compression test. It's got 150 psi, so it's you know, she's I don't know what it would have been new, but that's strong compression. So okay, here's a stop light. This is real world, man. This is where we usually have a problem. We made it. We made it through that one. Oh, missed a gear. The clutch pull is still quite hard. It's like, it's really hard is not the right word. It takes a lot of power, right, to grab it. Not only that, I've got short hands and it's a long throw out there to grab it. So part of my ineptness here riding is the fact it's those two issues. Although I take full responsibility for it. You know, it's blame the rider, not the bike, for sure. But that said, I'm going to do something at some point to make that clutch lever a lot easier to manipulate. There's that 3-ball clutch mod that you can do to the clutch release mechanism. And, hey, thank you, man, thank you. So that's one way of doing it. Apparently you can also extend the clutch release arm is another way, and I guess you know, I don't know if you do both of those. If you can do both of those, that's probably absolute nirvana. I don't know if you even can, but that's probably the type of strategy to take, right? Turn the headlights on, let's see what happens. Headlights are now on. Doesn't really make any difference here, but it's kind of dusk, so don't really need them, but probably a good idea to have them on at dusk. You know, that's probably what you're supposed to do. But yeah, if I can make that clutch a little easier, that would be that'd make the you know, a lot easier to handle. I did do a mod on the brake lever, on the brakes, to make them a lot easier to manage. Not done a video on that. It's the same mod I did on my 1977 Triumph T140V. It's a 750 vintage Triumph motorcycle, and it also had, you know, kind of really hard to manipulate front brake lever. And I did a mod on that, and I just did the same exact mod on here, which basically involves a spring between the lever and the perch. Maybe at some point I'll do a short video on doing that on the Can-Am, although it's pretty obvious. Maybe it isn't obvious. I don't know. I can't imagine me being the only one to have ever dreamt that idea up. But it allows you to have the you know, the lever way closer to the bar than you otherwise would, and still have it adjusted correctly. So that's essentially it. Works really good for guys with short fingers like I've got. Please don't read anything into that, by the way. Yeah, so anyways, guys, we're gonna wrap this one up here. I am just about home, and I don't really want to film my house, to be honest with you. Trust you guys, I just don't trust everybody else watching this goddamn video. So anyways, we're gonna say goodbye for now, and have a good one. Okay guys, well, we just got back home from that ride, and I let the bike sit in the driveway idling in first gear, you know, with the clutch lever depressed to mimic being at a stop light or stop sign, and let it go for a long time. I would say a good 2 to 3 minutes. I didn't actually time it, but it was a good amount of time. Certainly as long as the longest stop light would be. Let's just say that in most cases. And the engine did idle down, but it never ever did stop. So I decided to turn it off and then try to restart it. And you know, she was running great, as you guys saw. And even idling in the driveway fine, would not restart. So I've come down here to go and check out the ohm reading on the charging coil. Now, it should be a maximum of 500, and when I first keyed this in, it was at 593 before I turned on this video. And as you can see, as it cools down, it progressively drops. And 500 is the max. It should be a minimum of 425 ohms and a maximum of 500 ohms. So I am pretty sure this is still my problem, and I'm pretty sure in my case that it's the charging coil. Although I haven't, I did test the, the trigger coil previously, and it was also slightly out of spec. In an ideal world, I'd change both, but apparently the trigger coils are quite hard to come by. But I do think it's this charging coil that's the problem. It's such a hard issue to kind of validate because, when you visually test the spark, every time I visually test it, I see spark. But is it good enough to actually fire the bike, right? Like, that's the thing. Is it just too damn weak? And I think, yeah, I think it's too damn weak. So anyways, gee whiz. You think you're, if I was kind of hoping, I mean, I know I said on the video I would be kind of dreaming to hope that it was just the fact that it was wet, like the ignition here all wet, which it was. When I took this cover off, I got probably the equivalent of 2 to 3 tablespoons of water pour out of it onto the garage floor. And of course now that it's all dried out, you think, oh, maybe it's gonna be okay now, but nope, not okay. Anyways, guys, that's going to wrap this one up. I'm obviously going to have to bite the bullet and buy some parts. You can buy a vape ignition for this thing, but it's in US dollars, it's around 400 bucks, and then to ship it to me here in, I live in Western Canada, it's probably another, 60, 70, $80 to ship it to me. I don't really know what it's going to cost. And then converting that to American money, in Canadian dollars, it'd be about $900 for that vape ignition, which would be amazing because it'd be a new flywheel, new everything for the ignition, which would be great. It even comes with a puller for taking the old one off, which is pretty great. Weirdly, comes with a puller to take the old one off, but doesn't come with a puller to take the new one off. That's extra. But in any event, it would be a lot of money. So am I going to do that, or am I just going to buy a charging coil for the old system? I don't know what I'm going to do. Anyways, why don't you guys give me your good advice in the comments, because I'd really like to know what to do. I love this bike. I'm not going to sell it. I just love this bike. I think I'm going to keep it kind of forever. So maybe I should just bite the bullet and buy the damn vape ignition, eh? Maybe I should. Oh, cool car. Sorry for the noise. But in any event, okay, guys, we're going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe. I would really, really appreciate it. And please also leave me a comment and let me know what I should do with this bike. Let me know what parts I should replace, or is there something else I should try that I haven't already tried. Anyways, guys, hope you're doing well, and we'll catch you in the next one.